Is the end of the world really near? Earth drifts below, bathed in pastel light and shimmering dust. A micro-shuttle glides in, its viewport skimming the planet's curve. Victoria eases into frame, curiosity brightening her eyes. She gestures toward oceans where lens flares dance like ribbons. Reflections ripple across her face as satellites waltz beyond. We plunge through pastel auroras and translucent dust toward Earth. At Victoria appears at the viewport, finger tracing cloud swirls. Glossy hull reflections ripple, painting soft spectrums on her skin. She shares the vista, eyes meeting an unseen audience beyond glass. The camera glides closer, Earth filling the frame in radiant calm. We glide above a bright coastline where glittering waves braid light. At Victoria taps a floating hollow, titles blooming between her and Earth. The shadow of the craft slides over clouds like an ink brush stroke. At Victoria glances to camera, inviting us into the story. Confetti-like motes sparkle as data trails thread the blue marble. A grand pastel title blooms above Earth's radiant curve. Icons spiral outward, tracing a slow, graceful orbit. At Victoria lifts her hand, guiding the icons into alignment. The ring frames her face, planet glowing beyond her shoulder. Dust motes drift in a gentle spiral as the title resolves. We drift into cotton candy clouds laced with iridescent rainbows. Condensation beads on the window, gathering light like tiny prisms. At Victoria leans closer, reflection merging with the pastel world. She sets a tone of mystery and discovery with a calm, bright look. The cloud deck parts, revealing brighter sky shafts below. Victoria steps onto the skybridge terrace, welcoming the living city below. She points out rooftop gardens breathing after the rain. Victoria outlines the city's green arteries threading through streets. She invites viewers to notice small clues in the reflections. Victoria frames the skyline, setting the stage for discovery. Waves glitter as Victoria approaches the tide-marked seawall. Citizen 1 points out faint tide lines etched along the stone. Victoria compares the live chart with the marks along the wall. They visualize future scenarios with a simple overlay shift. Victoria thanks Citizen 1 and guides attention to simple steps ahead. The dock creaks as a gentle swell lifts the painted boats. Victoria approaches the marked post, curiosity sharpening her focus. Citizen 1 traces the chalk, comparing years with today's tide. They step to the rail, aligning chalk heights with the waterline. Victoria smiles, inviting a story behind the highest etch. A crisp horizon opens over pastel farms and a sweeping valley. Explorer scans the ridge, binocular overlays painting ghostly paths. Victoria aligns a transparent map with the fractured slope. They step to the edge, measuring angle and distance to the scar. A shared look confirms the risk and the plan to warn below. Sunlit mist halos a fountain as umbrellas dot the lively plaza. Citizen 1 arrives by the screen as shifting anomalies flash. Citizen 2 approaches, eyes narrowing at the rising trendline. Victoria steps between them, bridging data with daily experience. Together, they nod small steps, shared, start adding up. Silver drizzle threads the air as gutters carry drifting pastel leaves. Citizen 2 joins Victoria under a clear umbrella, sharing a soft laugh. They check the drain, noting debris patterns and flow speed. A tiny rainbow brightens as they straighten, satisfied with the check. They stroll on, steps in sync, umbrella a small moving halo. Iridescent panels of a sleek lab reflect drifting cotton clouds. Victoria and the scientist walk side by side toward the entrance. They pause as sun flares ribbon across the mirrored surface. A shared glance seals their focused, hopeful collaboration. They step forward together as the doors part with silent grace. Victoria enters the pastel-lit lab, eyes drawn to floating globes. The scientist welcomes her, expanding data layers with a precise motion. Victoria traces a current ribbon while listening intently. The scientist opens a comparative panel, inviting her thoughts. Victoria nods, scattering light particles with a gentle swipe. Inside the dome, the roof parts to reveal a soft cyan sky. The scientist calibrates, hands steady on the telescope housing. Victoria studies the secondary screen, eyes catching comet paths. Together they align a target, exchanging a quick confirming glance. A faint trail appears, Victoria gestures for a clean capture. Winds push the fabric walls as sea spray shimmers beyond the bluff. They align compass bearings against the bright waterline and Sunday. A gust threatens the maps, Victoria pins corners with quick grace. Explorer traces a predicted run-up path toward a cove below. They reveal a hidden panel by aligning sun, compass, and coastal marks. Layers of earth glow as currents and winds pulse in gentle rhythm. They step in arcs, rotating continents with gentle hand sweeps. Fault lines align with past slides, Victoria notes a valley corridor. They overlay coastal surge models, revealing a vulnerable delta fan. Paths intersect, a shared nod fixes their plan to act next. Sunlit steps rise through rose stone toward vine-framed pillars. Symbols glitter faintly as the pair enter the colonnade shade. Explorer gestures to a lintel mark, aligning with a distant ridge notch. They cross the threshold, dust rising in soft sun shafts. A breeze stirs vines as the entrance frames their onward path. Bioluminescent lichen paints the walls with gentle pastel glow. Victoria traces a hurricane-like spiral carved with delicate precision. Explorer lifts the lantern, revealing a band of storm cycles. They consult quietly, aligning motifs with known seasonal patterns. Decision made, they mark a gentle chalk dot beneath the spiral. A cool breath flows through a narrow corridor, dust shimmering. Explorer squeezes past, pointing out a star map mural ahead. Victoria studies an alignment of stars over a mountain silhouette. Dust eddies reveal an opening, they angle toward the mountain notch. A final glance confirms the star notch, they proceed inward. Under the ribbed arch, Victoria aligns translations with carved glyphs. They compare symbols to modern climate charts, noting uncanny parallels. Victoria steps back, seeing the arch's pattern align with the data. Explorer traces a spiral, confirming the translation with a nod. Together, they mark a correlation point on the tablet's overlay. Sunlit brushes reveal a compass rose beneath wind-streaked sand. Explorer aligns the compass with the sun, Victoria watches the shadow. A faint click reveals a hidden panel under the southern petal. Victoria steadies the plate while Explorer lifts the hidden panel. They reveal markings hinting at a route toward the hill ruins. A circular platform crowns the ruin, constellations inlaid like pearly guides. Explorer indicates the horizon notch, Victoria centers her view. A sunbeam catches a crystal, casting a rainbow path to the valley. Victoria traces the rainbow line as Explorer confirms the bearing. They align map and horizon, a route delineated by light and stone. In a quiet courtyard, maps unfurl beside rippling pools and drifting petals. They cross-check symbols from the ruins with annotated overlays. A breeze flips the parchment edges, Victoria catches a curling corner. Explorer aligns compass readings with a temple sketch on the map. Together, they circle a route toward the valley, decision made. Sunlit galleries shimmer, meteor shards gleam beneath crystal cases. They study captions linking celestial cycles and earthly patterns. A shard's cross-section reveals fused layers like flowing ribbons. Victoria compares notes with scientist, reflections mingling on glass. Decision set, they turn down the gallery toward the next exhibit. On a breezy ridge, instruments hum as grasses ripple in slow waves. Readouts ripple with subtle tremors. Victoria approaches along the path. Explorer locks the tripod as the breeze pushes across the ridge. Together, they triangulate the signal along the fault scarp. A warning marker is placed, quiet urgency settling over the ridge. We set the sensor at the ridge crest to catch subtle ground pulses. Tiny tremors ripple on the readout, nothing alarming but persistent. We align the array to triangulate the subtle motion along strike. Wind rises, we brace the rig and log a clean baseline reading. Baseline locked, we flag the site and move to the next station. A gentle tremor shivers the boulevard, chimes tinkling above the hush. Windows hold, we keep distance from facades and stand clear of signage. We check for hazards and guide others toward open space. The tremor eases, we reassess and share a reassuring nod. All clear. We resume, staying mindful of aftershocks and signage. Offshore buoys pulse, a model flags a rising, rhythmic long-period swell. The projection grows, we widen the alert radius and log timestamps. We confer on thresholds before notifying harbor and promenade stewards. Alert sent. We advise caution along low steps and slick promenade tiles. We watch the swell rhythm settle into predicted bands, vigilant and ready. Harbor crews signal. We move with purpose toward signed high ground. We keep to the edge lanes, leaving the center clear for responders. Stairwell ahead, we steady our pace and offer hands to those behind. Crews confirm timing, we log drill notes at the landing. Drill complete, we regroup by the marker and debrief next steps. The dome immerses us in a slow-motion atmospheric entry scenario. We trace the entry angle and compare past analogs for scale. Thermal bloom, breakup altitude, and projected footprint overlay our region map. Mitigation windows appear, we discuss lead times and deflection options. We lock the plan draft, hopeful under the theater's soft auroral light. Banners snap down the avenue as Victoria outlines a safe crosswind path. She points to shelter, demonstrating how to move with the gusts, not against. Victoria steadies them, showing a low center of gravity for stronger bursts. They cross the avenue diagonally, keeping close to cover and railings. At the doorway, Victoria signals pause and reviews the crosswind tactic. Warm rain beads across rooftops as drainage channels begin to surge. She compares flow paths, marking blockages where pooling begins to appear. A call comes in from scientist, confirming the neighborhood mitigation plan. Victoria flags a clogged grate and updates the overflow route in seconds. With flows balanced, she smiles. Small waterfalls now feed the designed channels. Sunlit stalls glow as Victoria briefs on securing shelves before tremors. She shows anchor points and spacing to prevent tipping during shakes. Bolts tighten, Victoria checks that heavy items sit low and centered. A gentle shake test proves the fix, the shelf holds steady and safe. They exchange a smile, then move to the next stall to replicate steps. In a soft-lit ops room, vectors orbit a holographic asteroid between them. The scientist adjusts approach vectors, outlining a gravity assist timeline. Victoria suggests a phased drone formation to spread corrective impulse. They confirm redundancy, enabling an automated handoff if a unit fails. With the plan locked, they trade a calm look, measured, ready, optimistic. Sunlight warms a cozy room as Victoria opens an emergency kit by the sofa. She affixes a clear plan at eye level, pointing out the meeting spot. Together they check radio function and label spare batteries. A quick placement check, heavy items low, essentials within easy reach. They share a relieved smile, the checklist complete and posted for all. Let's run a clean radio check from the rooftop garden. Channel 1, clear. Reading you at 5 by 5. Victoria, maintain line of sight. Antenna angle looks perfect. Copy. Beginning count. 3, 2, 1. Transmit test ping. Signal received. Rooftop net operational. Great work, team. Out at the pad, the vehicle gleams above wind-brushed grass. Systems green. Victoria, eyes on venting and fueling lines. Fueling stable. Venting nominal. Countdown rehearsal continues. Hold a moment confirming valve sync with guidance timers. All checks aligned. Proceed to next step. Pad is yours. The desert opens wide as Victoria and the Explorer scan the sky. Victoria traces the predicted path toward the far horizon. They compare the tablet overlay with ridgelines and dune crests. A faint contrail appears. Victoria tracks it with measured calm. Explorer marks the waypoint as the rover's beacon pulses softly. Bright tents line the quay as Victoria briefs Citizen 2 on barriers. They position the first module and check the flow arrows. Victoria points out an eddy that needs an anchor strap. With 2 modules linked, current lines smooth into gentle arcs. They share a quick thumbs up and note the next placement zone. On a communal rooftop, neighbors prep supplies under a soft overcast. Victoria signals the start. Panel anchors first, then cross-bracing. Bolts bite cleanly as Victoria tracks progress on the display. They add cross-bracing, aligning the struts with wind arrows. A final check complete. Victoria marks the drill time with a smile. At a hilltop temple, ribbons flutter as the guide meets them at the gate. Victoria bows slightly, acknowledging the place and its keeper. Explorer presents a tablet with site notes and star alignments. They step within the gate court, eyes drawn to the inner courtyard. At the threshold, Explorer lingers, savoring the temple's calm. Sunbeams ignite the crystal orrery, painting rainbows across stone. The guide turns a ring, gears whisper as spheres drift into line. Victoria traces alignments that match the temple's floor marks. Explorer notes a marked solstice point, inviting the guide's insight. With a final adjustment, the room's colors settle into harmony. We're aligning the array to open a brand new band of data. You'll see the weak signals paint into view. Watch the horizon. Signal lock achieved. Phase drift under control proceeding. Their new data band opening. Do you see the faint arc? We're live. Let's record a quick explainer for viewers. We'll descend along the ridge to sample the vent plumes. Check comms, then confirm ballast and emergency ascent. Harness secure. Tethers stowed. We're ready for boarding. Copy that. Let's step inside and seal the hatch. Hatch sealed. Begin descent protocol when you're set. Descent nominal. Visibility low. Watch for the ridge silhouette. Thermal gradient rising. Vents ahead. 3 o'clock, moderate flow. I've got the plume initiating sample capture window now. Sample secured. Logging temperature and mineralization markers. We'll orbit the chimney once, then ascend along the ridge flank. These inscriptions echo the currents and storms we've been tracking. The grooves match coastal myths, tides, surges, and return cycles. Let's align it to the map etchings. Watch the storm spiral motif. There it is, a pattern aligning floods, winds, and star positions. We'll photograph, log provenance, and secure the chamber. These fibers become rapid shelters that breathe and flex. Sensor net maps air quality as living ribbons across the space. Let's see the neighborhood layout layered with mitigation routes. Frame completed. Assemble 2 segments and deploy the canopy. Canopy locks cleanly, ready to ship for field trials today. Earth's rim blushes sherbet hues as Victoria drifts to the viewport. She indicates a storm line, tracing gilded anvils along the tropics. A satellite slips past, mirrored as a sliver across the glass. She steadies herself, framing the limb between her fingertips. She nods, absorbing the vastness as night creeps along continents. Panels bloom with field clips as Victoria and scientists take position. They rotate, and the mosaic turns, aligning oceans into a single ribbon. Victoria gestures. Data threads connect deserts, forests, and coasts. The scientist confirms a link, impacts ripple across the display. Together they pause, surrounded by an integrated world story. A bright hall hums as Victoria and Explorer step onto the stage. She greets the front row, welcoming questions with an open gesture. Explorer nods, indicating a display of community actions behind them. Victoria listens intently to a question, then motions to the plan. She shares a final reassurance, and the room settles with resolve. Orbit drifts into peach and lavender as city lights begin to flicker. She turns toward us, warmth in her eyes and a gentle smile forming. She lifts a friendly wave, inviting us to keep exploring together. Tiny sparkles drift outward like fireflies in low gravity. She lowers her hand, eyes bright with gratitude and purpose. We ease back through pastel stardust as Earth rotates in calm grace. Victoria points to a glowing icon that blossoms beside the planet. The icon settles, casting a faint halo across her faceplate. She smiles, and the frame fills with drifting auroral glow. The cosmos softens to color and light, inviting a peaceful fade.